She works for lipedema and Derkham's disease. She's a fat disorder person.
Hello, Lippy ladies and your families and friends. This is Karen Herbst from Tucson, Arizona. I really wish I could be there with you at the big meet today. There are so many of you. That is absolutely fantastic. I did start a new job at the beginning of August, and so they wouldn't let me have any time off, or else I would love to be there. I would like to, therefore, share with you just a few things and show you a couple of things before the end of this short video. First, I wanted to update you a little bit on what's been happening in the lipedema world. So we've been working in the background trying to get insurance to cover lipedema. That means compression, liposuction, manual lymph drainage, and any other treatment that we felt was standard of care for lipedema. However, lipedema is not a recognized term in the medical world, as you know, or in the insurance community. So in 2006, do you believe it, I applied for, actually it was 2011, I applied for lipedema to be recognized as a term in the National Library of Medicine. This means that it has a medical code, and they call it a mesh code. As I said, I applied for this in 2011. It kind of got lost in the milieu of other terms that were submitted at that time. And I followed up on a number of occasions, and I was always told, you know, there's no way we can track it, there are so many terms, blah, blah, blah. So recently, Catherine Sayo, who many of you know, also has lipedema and is a major driver for change in the lipedema world in the US. She and I bugged the National Library of Medicine and said, hey, and I applied for this term 2 years ago, where are things? And they told us that now, because there are over 50 publications in the literature on lipedema, so I don't really think they included lipoedema or some of the other terms for lipedema, including adiposis dolorosa. But we'll take it. They said there are 50 publications, and now they'll put it to committee, and quite soon we expect that lipedema will be a mesh term in the National Library of Medicine. Now, what does that mean? That means that we can then apply to the World Health Organization for ICD-9, for ICD-10, a change in the ICD-10 coding, or we can apply to get lipedema recognized in the ICD-11 terminology. So that means that when you go to your doctor, and then instead of them saying, well, you have something like lymphedema, but it's not lymphedema, but I'll give you a code maybe for other lymphedema, there actually will be an area where lipedema is described. It may not say lipedema exactly, but it will be recognized that that particular code is for lipedema. And what that does is that forces the insurance company to cover that visit for lipedema. And it helps give us traction when you're applying for your compression garments. Instead of applying for something that doesn't exist, you're applying for something that does exist. Also, we've been working with a number of surgeons in the field, both in Germany and the United States, to bring liposuction techniques to women in the United States, and we hope also to the UK. And these are experts in local tumescent liposuction, water-assisted liposuction, and also other techniques were described. And so our goal will be to get a description of these different techniques that are acceptable for lipedema. So we can always publish a paper that, you know, this lipedema group says this is the standard of care for lipedema. For example, right now it's not really accepted that liposuction is the standard of care for lipedema, but what we're hoping is that with our workforce growing bigger, and you are a big part of that, so thank you. With that growing workforce, we're going to be able to actually publish in the journals, in reputable journals, so that the insurance companies have to stand up and take notice. We're also going to hopefully get more and more people to learn the techniques of liposuction for lipedema all over the world, so that it's more available to you, it's covered by insurance, and because it will be better known, the techniques are just going to keep getting better and better. And then eventually it will become a standard of care. So those are just a couple of things that have been going on in the background. One of the things I wanted to mention was that the reason that this is happening is because we hear your voices. And I want to commend you for having your Lipedema Awareness Day in the UK. I'm sorry I missed that. I was supposed to be out in that area, but things didn't quite work out. I'm hoping to get out there sometime this fall. I know that people are still working on it, but I definitely want to be a part of your group. I also wanted to commend you for taking information about lipedema to the medical community. So the medical community, in many cases, knows nothing about lipedema. For example, in medical school, we were taught that the lymphatic system helps immune cells get from one location to another. It's also a primary area for cancer spread. But we didn't learn about lymphatic dysfunction apart from having lymphedema mentioned briefly. We didn't really learn the different types of lymphedema, and I promise you, lipedema was never mentioned. In order for us to bring greater and greater awareness, we need to create things like CME events for healthcare providers. That includes physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, any healthcare worker, physical therapist, occupational therapists that would work with a woman who has lipedema. We also need courses in medical school for medical students, and we can design a course on lipedema, lymphedema, liposuction, and other treatments for lipedema to be taught to our medical students. And it can be just a morning, a single morning where we go over cases and we have the students learn about it, ask questions, go read about it, come back, and discuss it in great detail on a second morning. So this would be a problem-based learning case, and that's something, one of my dreams that I'd like to work on, and it would be nice to get a group together to do that. And then also we need to bring awareness through events such as yours. We need the media to get involved, newspapers. We need to have documentaries, as Catherine Seo is working on. We need other media personalities to get involved and to take an interest in lipedema because it affects millions of women in the UK, millions of women in the US, and of course millions of women worldwide. It's just not recognized and it's underdiagnosed. One other thing I wanted to mention was that right now there are no clinical research studies going on to try and decrease fat outside of liposuction. So fat is a tissue. There are things that cause fat cells to give up their fat, and we really haven't systematically tested many things to see if we can actually talk to these fat cells and have them tell us why they aren't giving up their fat, but yet figure out what mechanisms would allow the fat cell to release their fat into the body. So that's something that I think needs to occur. We need studies, even if they come out negative. We need studies on diet. So we need to offer women who have lipedema different diets and show the absolute lack of weight loss, unless of course we could figure out one that would work. We need to use the gold standard dual X-ray absorptiometry to evaluate the amount of fat and where it's located on the body. We need to use new MRI techniques that take advantage of the ability of MRI to capture water sequences in fat, and in that way we can actually image a difference between an area which has fat consistent with lipedema versus an area which has fat consistent with normal obesity. The liposuction experts tell us when they do liposuction, they really can't tell a difference between liposuctioning out an area of lipedema and liposuctioning out an area of obesity. So we need to get down onto the molecular level. We need to evaluate the different kinds of fat that's there. We need to look at different molecules that are expressed by these fat cells. And I think it would be interesting to do this in a situation where we had different diets, because that will allow us to view the cell in different environments. So that's kind of part of the future of where we're going. So finally, I just wanted to show you some different forms of creating harmonic waves through the body. So, of course, if you're a woman with lipedema, then you want to exercise. And you want to do the exercise that's right for you. And that's going to help your body move your lymphatic fluid, as well as build muscle and improve your fitness pathways. Swimming is the best exercise for lipedema because it helps move harmonic waves through your body, even if as you just walk through the water. Walking is good as long as you're wearing good shoes and using your arms as you walk, because that also burns energy and will move harmonic waves through your arms as well. So I'm going to show you a unique piece of equipment that I am sitting on right now. This piece of equipment is called the IJoy. And the IJoy is supposed to look like you're riding a horse. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. So I know I probably look pretty funny, but as you can see, the IJoy is shaking my body. And if I put my legs down, it's shaking my arms, my legs, my torso, even my head, although you can keep your head pretty still. And it may look like I'm just having fun riding this horse, but in reality, I'm working the core muscles here. And inside of your thorax, there's a place where lymph sits. It's called the chylus cisternae. And it's like a big teardrop of lymph fluid in here. And what you want to do is get that fluid to move out, because that's holding all the fat that you absorbed from your gut. And so this is a great way to do that, and as well as firm your muscles and your core muscles, and also stimulate the movement of harmonic waves through your arms and legs. And you can actually go faster, which takes even a little bit more finesse, but it actually just works mainly your core. But I like the slow one because of the harmonic waves. So I want to show you a second piece of equipment that many of you are likely familiar with. This is a whole body vibration machine that I'm standing on right now. And there's different kinds of whole body vibration that you can use to help move lymphatic fluid. This is a vertical vibration machine. This is one of the safer machines. We took off the handles so that I could interact with the video, but normally we have handles here that you would hold on to. But as you can hear my voice, there are waves of vibration moving up and down my body, and this helps move lymphatic fluid. And that's actually been published in the literature, and I show that in one of my papers called Rare Adipose Disorders Masquerading as Obesity. It also is known to build muscle and fat. And there are lots of things you can do on this platform. If you're holding on, you can do bends, you can do stretches to the side. You can even have bands that you hook onto the machine and you can pull. And so you can work on strength, you can work on flexibility at the same time that you're moving your lymphatic fluid. So I hope you enjoyed that little discussion. I hope you've stopped laughing after seeing me on the iGallop. And again, I wanted to congratulate you on a wonderful gathering. As I said, I wish I could be there, but I'm enjoying this hot weather out here in Tucson, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. This is Karen Herbst saying goodbye from Tucson.